Hello my fellow DIYers. Today I'm going to show you how I turned this jumpsuit into a two-piece, starting with the top. For this project, you're going to need some elastic, a seam ripper, some needle, thread, safety pins, and or push pins. So right now I'm just laying the jumpsuit down, and this is where I'm going to cut, right along the seam. You can see I already started. So I'm going to hold it and just go along the seam very carefully as to not pull out any of the extra fabric. And in the back, I'm going to do the exact same thing, ripping along the seam at the very bottom. At the end, this is what your top should look like. So here's me trying it on. It's the perfect length, right below my rib cage, and you can see where the seam used to be. And that's where we're going to sew to have space for the elastic. So I'm just going to turn it inside and take a safety pin and pin it down. I prefer using safety pins because it makes it easier to take on and off without getting pricked by the push pins. So I'm just going to safety it along that very top blue line. And that is where I'm going to sew. I'm going to do the same for the sides. And you can see the little white strings in the back. That was the extra fabric that I pulled. But it's okay, I'll cut those off later. So I'll just take my safety pin and do the same thing I did at the front. You're going to do that for both sides. So here I am cutting off those excess little fabrics, and then I'm just going to iron it down a little just to make it easier to sew. You don't have to do this, but it just makes it a little easier. And now I am pinning the back. Get some thread that is close to the color as your top and thread your needle. And now we're going to take a little break to hear a word from our sponsors. In the video, you're going to see me start sewing along here, which is like where the armhole is. I would not recommend doing that. Start off a little in here. From here, sew, come over here, stop like right here. Because when you're putting the elastic through this, it was kind of hard to get it through. And I ended up having to cut along the seams on this side just to pull the elastic out and then thread it back in. So what you'll want to do is, again, don't start here as you'll see me do in the video. Start a little more outward, right? So this whole space right here would have a gap. Same with on this side. Remember, these is where the armholes are. Ugh. Okay, leave this gap and then sew the rest, and then sew it back, like close it on both sides, and then you can seal it after. Okay, all right, cool, back to the video. And we're back. So as you can see, I am running the needle through one of the seams of the runched part and then pushing it back in close to where I pierced it the first time, just to make it really small and almost invisible. Then I'm going to go through that hole twice. And remember that top blue line I talked about earlier? That's where you are going to run your needle. You're just going to move over a little bit and do the same thing you did before. Pierce the fabric close to the seam, run your needle through, and then do it again, very close to that first, what would I call that? Indentation? I don't know. If you could see it here, I'm sorry my hands are kind of in the way. But I'm threading through and then going real close to that first part and threading it again. And you're just going to continue this all the way around. Make sure you leave a space for you to string your elastic through. In the end, this is what it should look like. Nice and straight. And this is the front part that I'm just finishing up. Make sure you leave a space because now we're going to put our elastic in. I connected the elastic to a safety pin and just, I don't know what word I would use, squished it. Because the hole I made was really small, so I had to make sure that it went through so that it would be easy to pull. So we're just gonna go in, I'm gonna hold that safety pin and just run it through until I get all the way around. Once you get to the end, you can pull your elastic out, cut off any excess, and sew it closed. So this is how the top turned out. I absolutely love it. It's the perfect length, nice and stretchy. I'm really excited about it. I think I did pretty good for an amateur job. And next I'm going to do the bottom half and turn it into pants. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it wide leg, or I had the idea of turning it into like a jogger style. Who knows? I guess you're going to have to subscribe and see. Thank you.